Hey, hi there. It's
Hi, I know it's afternoon for you, but it's morning for me. So I'm just
good
going to
morning.
say good day.
Good day, good day, good day. And good day to everyone that's out there watching us. Thank you for
Yes.
spending time with us. This is actually our final 2022 Brand Innovators live cast. So it's really cool to be here. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to be with you. Obviously, you and I have worked together, and we've shared many moments like this where we are just chatting and talking about everything in the marketing sphere, specifically influencer marketing. So let's get started and just chat a little bit so we can tell the folks out there a little bit more about what it is that Grace New does for Quest. And we all know Quest Nutrition. It's that cool CPG brand that does the yummy protein bars, the snacks, the chips, and all those goodies. How did you end up at Quest Nutrition? Like, what were some of the skill sets or experiences that you've had in your career that sort of catapulted you to influencer marketing? And the reason why I ask is because I am like a 25-year-old broadcast vet. I was in radio most of my career. And when COVID happened, actually a little before COVID, I'd been thinking about where all the hype was going, where the awareness was going, where were the ad dollars going, and it all seemed to be shifting towards the digital side of the business and less towards radio and traditional media. So for me, that was it was actually a pretty easy pivot, because I, as a radio guy, dealt a lot with talent, right? So I dealt with creators and talented people, unique personalities. And then as a radio guy, just kind of learning the whole digital end was not that difficult for me. But tell me a little bit about what kind of got you to where you are now.
Well, a little bit would be actually, it's a kind of a long story, but I will try to make it as succinct as possible. To just like you, I had a long storied career prior to joining Quest Nutrition. I was a publicist, entertainment, film, and television for a very long time. The funny part of the story is one of the reasons why I left it was because I saw that social media was coming on board, and I saw how it was going to start getting interwoven into my day-to-day job as a publicist. So I remember thinking to myself at that point, going, I'm going to go out the way of the dinosaurs. So I'm leaving. Fast forward, several years later, it's just, I don't know if the word is ironic or coincidentally, but I found myself actually living and breathing in social media, right? Based off of my title, influencer marketing manager, it kind of touches upon that. We do have a social media manager, so he handles all the platforms in that respect. So my role basically is to help with the content. As you see, my title also has brand engagement. A lot of people also ask me, what does that mean? And the easiest way to put that out there is it's how our fans engage with us as a brand. That's what we're tasked with. So as a team, we oversee all the different aspects that that's just the consumer and our fans that does not hit advertising or media buys. So that's like PR, that's social media, that is also events.
Right.
It's a lot of word of mouth marketing type. So my background as a publicist, I think, really helped out because I had launched films and television shows and had worked with a lot of talent, high profile people. That's actually how I know Chris is through mutual publicist friends. And that learning about relationships and building and what's important about that helped me with my skill set when I pivoted and ended up in the world of CPG, consumer product goods. And to those of you who may not have ever seen a Quest bar before, here's what one looks like.
Oh, I know those a little too well. I've indulged, so they're delicious.
Yeah, so then what was really interesting was that a lot of my skill sets actually just transferred right over. I've done premieres. Like I said, I've handled talent. I've been on set, and all these. It was just interesting that all these little aspects of my previous career actually enhanced, and allowed me to actually, excel at Quest, which I've been at since 2015. So it's been a while. I try to say 7 and 8 years at the same time, saying the date, but yeah, it's the longest I've been at a company. And one of the reasons why I'm still here is because they are a fantastic company to work for. And I really enjoy, my work here, and my team is amazing. Like, I have this great boss, and she just really, helps elevate me, and we have a really good relationship, which I'm sure we're going to hit upon somewhere else later on. But hopefully I answered your question, how I ended up.
You did. That was great. And shout out to Alyssa, who's out there. I know that's who you're referring to.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that's fantastic. And you did mention relationship in your what you were just explaining right now. I'd like to hear a little more about that, because I work with a lot of like influencer partnership people, right? Creative partnerships. And these are the folks that have the direct relationships with the influencers, and they help us build campaigns for our clients, and they make sure that they vet them, and the list goes on and on of all the things they do. So tell me about like your relationships, not just internally, but also the ones that you're building out there with these cool people that you interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah. So for me, there's two ways of looking at, when you interact with people. There's that transactional piece, and then there's also ones where you're building that relationship. And there are times when you want to have some transactional, and you also want to have the balance of having the longer term relationship. And that's really important, because these are the people that are going to be your sounding board. These are people that you could take some risk with, and hopefully they'll give you their honest opinion on certain things. So in this perspective, meeting people, I always look at that in that respect. I like to meet people and build a relationship with them, because I'm also of the philosophy that people come into your life for a reason. Sure. And I don't want to quote that thing about some are for a season, some are for a time, but I think you all know that one.
Yeah.
So for example, a great example of the relationship is like with Chris. Like I said, I met him through another publicist friend many, many, many years ago. And I don't think Chris knows this part, but that one time when we had interacted, I forgot where he was, but I had shown up, and there were some items that he had, and we were just chatting. And I just remember how kind he was to me. And part of the reason why I resonated was because, I had left the industry at that time. And, it's kind of one of those things where some people keep in touch with you and some people don't, because it's also a little bit of like, what can you do for me? Who do you know? There's always that going on, right? So what struck me really interesting about Chris was he was just very gracious and kind. And I always thought, wow, what a great guy. And so it was pretty awesome when I started seeing, what he was doing influential, and how he was being elevated, and, what he and his brother had made the company right now. And so when you guys approached me about, hey, is there a possibility of working together? I jumped upon it and said, what, I want to talk to the team. I would love to get on board. Let's, we're really big on test and learn. We haven't worked with an agency like yours before. I would like to take that jump and take that leap to do so because of the relationship with Chris.
Right.
I think we talked about that when we first had met, and that was a very critical point. And so that's what I'm saying, that's why relationships are important, because you don't know when the payoff is. It's not about the short-term gain, or is this going to play it out now? And that's the same thing with marketing too. And this is what I find difficult, and some of the challenges of it is you don't know when that payoff is going to be. And a lot of, especially leadership, they want to see where you are, where you're going with the business campaign. Yes. Why don't we see results in the next quarter? Well, sometimes it takes time to build because of the different touch points. Absolutely. And that's where we as a team are building a relationship with our fans. And that's what I think is really important, is how do we show up for our consumers, for our fans? How do we bring our brand promise to life? How do we as an employee company, how do we live and breathe it? So that way we're authentic and we show up for the people who are also on there. I don't know how many people know this, but our tagline, our hashtag is on a quest, which I always love talking about, because that really resonated with me. And it's like, we want to show up for our fans because we don't know where they are, what their quest is, but we want to be able to support them. And should they want to choose to use our product that helps get them there, we are so thankful and grateful to be part of that journey with them. So that to me is why it's important to build relationships. But to your point, also there are times where you just need to have a couple of transactional things here and there, just to keep it going, to get the reach of things. And that part of the different, and one of the ways that we look at things here is there is you could go deep or you could go broad.
Right.
The broad is the easy one. That's a quick KPIs, like, oh, we got the metrics, we got the impressions, we got the CPMs, and then, but then, you also want to take that level and like, when can we go a little deeper? When can we be there for a consumer and the user and know what they want and provide something for them? Because at the end of the day, it's about empowering themselves and then believing in who they are and that they could achieve this greatness. That's why they're on a quest with us and we're with them.
Right. No, I love that. I think that's amazing, actually. That's a great response. So as we all process this, because that's all great information for anyone out there. For instance, I work with some startup brands that are, they don't know the approach yet, right? They are sort of like testing the waters, but they're unsure. There's an uncertainty. There's a commitment that has to be made, both on resources like time and then also investment, right? So there has to be a deal of investment and commitment there. So with that being said, like what's the strategy now that I know that, sometimes you go far and wide and then sometimes you go deep? What's the overall strategy like when you're building these campaigns and you're putting thought to it and you're working with the other stakeholders at Quest? What are we trying to do on most instances? I know it's probably different for different campaigns, but share a little bit about that.
Okay. I have to apologize. I have a little bit of allergies going on.
That's okay. Look, you're tearing up from the allergies. Chris is tearing up from the kind words you said about him. I'm tearing up too because the sweater is actually really hot. So,
so yes, to your point, you're right. Every campaign is different, but we always have, there's certain parts that's always the same. Like, you always have the like when you cook, you always have your main, like you need to get a pan or a cooking implement. You got to have like the oil, whatever it is that is, right? The ingredients.
Sazon, you got to get the seasoning, the sazon. That's what us Puerto Ricans say.
Yeah. So then, but then what makes something different? Like, it could be chicken 5 ways, right? It depends on how you're preparing it, why you're preparing it for this way. For example, I don't ever eat turkey except for Thanksgiving. Right. And then it's always like, do we have to roast a turkey? Can't we do something different? So that's how, that's my approach for when I look at campaigns when it's brought to me. We have our overarching campaign, like this is the theme for the year, and this year happens to be better, softer, yummier, which is, talking about our bars. So I want to throw that in there because, obviously I'm a marketer. Course. And then we also have our product launches that happens, throughout the year. And when we have that, we take a look, like, what is this which product is it? Is it a bar? Is it a chip? Is it a shake? Is it a cookie? Or just something different, like a candy? Like, I don't think people realize this, but we do actually have like these candy bites, which are kind of fun, and our peanut butter cups. People might have seen that. And we just recently came out with our mini peanut butter cups. So, we have to look at each thing. They're similar, but they're still different. And how can we make that distinction to get the word out there? And so that way people know that we actually have this wider portfolio than just having our Quest bars, which we love, and which is definitely is a staple, and everyone should have one, especially in your bag if you're running around on the go.
It's a little plug there.
Yeah, I know, of course, I can't help myself.
I love it.
So basically, like, it's a little bit of everything, but you definitely need to have that balance. So like, to the risk taking, we also have to determine, are we able to put a little bit more budget here, and resources is very limited. And so and time is one of those resources, like, do we have the time? What is the ramp, and then who else are we going to bring on board? So, because, we're talking about creator commerce right now, we take a look and see who might represent our brand and this product to our audience, or a new audience, possibly, to bring them into the fold. So, so we do definitely, take that in consideration, what is that match? And, we don't do too much of that big paid sponsorship or endorsement like other brands do.
Right.
But we do, take that in mind. And if there is appropriate alignment, or alignment with people and the product itself, we want to, obviously explore that. And we have done that too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, on the native side, probably more of an always on building trust, right?
Yes.
Like that seems to be like the case, just seeing a lot of your previous campaigns and what we've done together. It seems that trust and consistency is key in
Yeah.
what you.
Actually, thank you for synthesizing what I was trying to say. Yes.
No, you're great.
Called the Quest Squad that we're very proud of, that my boss Alyssa had launched in 2016, and it was an idea of this is like when obviously social media was just coming up, and how do you start bringing people into the fold, and that was when people are still having fun with it, and they're open to taking, exchanging product for posts more. And
Right.
so, we were like, hey, let's see where this takes us. So she built this group called this Quest Squad, and it's a program that we are still running today. And she took it from like a handful of people to like 300. And then from there, it went to like 3,000, like within a year. It was like kind of crazy, like how fast we grew it. Because, we saw how the explosion of people coming onto social media and posting about things and having fun. And what we try to do is create these activities called missions. Like they're basically like social challenges on a monthly basis to keep them engaged with the brand and to talk about it. And because a lot of what's really unique about our Quest fans is that they love our brand. They're very, very loyal. And that was something we want to tap into. Like, how can we be like a fan club for them? Like, how can we, like, again, how do we show up for them? And so it's free. There's an application process just to vet them really quickly. And some people, they come on thinking that it's an influencer paid program. And so when we explain to them, it's not, it's their choice whether they can stay on or not. And then from there, we actually one year, like, was on hypergrowth. And this was like obviously around the pandemic time, because a lot of people were home, had more time, and they were looking for different things to do. Like we hit like 7,000. And that's like a lot of people to manage, for a very, very small team, like, because we're very, very lean. And so, we obviously had to like look for some efficiencies and optimization, and kind of get down to a more manageable number. And then also a lot of people, like I said, they come in, they have fun, and sometimes they move on, and some people definitely stay. So we want to be there, like that, like our always on program.
So
Versus
I want to touch. I'm sorry, I want to touch a little bit on how you optimize and stuff. But before that, I want to know a little bit about like, what did these people do? Like, what was their role as such a like uber fan of the brand?
Well, that's just it. They're like the everyday influencer, because everyone has a voice and everyone influences someone. So this program is basically like back in the day when like a band or someone had a fan club. Yep. And someone was in charge of like, writing back to them and sending them like stickers or photos, or offering them like, band tchotchkes, so that way they could, feel like they're a part of it. So that's kind of like our digital grown-up version, social version of that concept. Okay. Like we built it on that, like, these people love us for a reason. We obviously can't talk to every single one of them, but what can we do to give back to show them that we care too, and that we appreciate them being there for us?
And I guess the outcome, or as you mentioned before, the payout, right? When does it pay off? Was it that they would create content, just
I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So our social challenges basically live on Instagram, because it's the easiest one to track. Right. We give them a hashtag that they use so we could track it. Okay. And they create content that we are able to then repurpose for, whether it's for another digital asset. We repost it or reshare it on our own socials. We have something called the Fan Crush Friday, that our social media manager diligently goes through a lot of the different content from the social content itself that he sees, as well as the Quest Squad. A lot of it comes from the Quest Squad. Because they do definitely, they show they authentically show their love, and they get really into it, and really show the product off. So we like to we post it, we repost it. It was called Fan Crush Fridays. And we normally pick like 10 every other week or something to just let them know, hey, look, we saw you, we got you, like, thank you.
It's like bragging rights for them, I'm assuming, right?
It is.
Yes, I'm like noticed here, which is kind of cool. We're all looking for a little, gratification, right? We want something from the brands we work with or consume every day. So for us, it's important to know that like you're listening, that there is some engagement, and it's not just some sort of like automated responses. It's an actual human, right? So that's pretty cool. I love that.
So that's something that we try to do for our fans, is to let them know that we see them, we hear them, we're there for them.
So then now the optimization part. So knowing that it's generating some form of results, what are you doing on the back end to sort of like track that, or what are you getting out of that? I mean, obviously there's that human touch, right, that you're getting, which is, again, priceless. But what are you doing as far on the business end, looking at like, how do you quantify, where's the attribution there?
Yeah, so we also know that obviously these fans also buy our products. So this also helps, when you deepen the loyalty, the repeat. And then also the fact that word of mouth, so they're trusted by their friends and family. And so we hope that when someone asks them for their thoughts and opinion on what protein or what snacks to go for, that top of mind is Quest. And that's the first thing they'll recommend. And, refers to the word of mouth is there. We also look at it as, like I said, content that we could also utilize, like, and then also we like to share it within our company as well, just so everyone here as employees, they feel they're actually making a difference. Because when they see the happy, shiny faces holding a product and they read the captions, when they see that, it's like you go, oh my God, my brand, the one I work with. So whether you're in our customer service team, you're in finance or in R&D, it's like a lot of times you don't get to see what my team sees, because, we are pretty much the team that outwardly faces with the external, part of the company. And so we see it all the time, and we just take that for granted. But when you're inside and you're deep working in, and it's like, if you're a brand manager too, it's like, how are people reacting to the products and the flavors you chose to put out there? And so when you see and they say like a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I think that's one reason why Instagram is so popular with people, is that you post something and it tells a story right there by that picture. And it's easy, low barrier to entry. You don't, you just have to pretty much just smile, or don't, but you know what I mean. And then when they see that, you get this warm feeling of like, oh, they seem so happy with my product. And like, it's every time, like for me, every time, like when something happens at work, and I feel a little bit like, oh man, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? Like, is this even worth it? And then I see these images that flood, my computer, because that's, what I do. And then I read, and a few of them, you read like how much it has changed their lives. There was a big thing about transformation for a long time. A lot of people use our product to transform themselves, to be a better version of themselves. And they write about it, and they love to write in to us, also to our consumer engagement team, who then passes on to us. And that's where you get those feel good moments, when you go, okay, I am doing something that's impactful. I am doing something that's making the world just a little bit better, and it's bigger than me.
Wow. So it's truly a labor of love. Truly.
It is, most definitely.
That's very impressive. I love hearing that, because I feel the same way when I see a great campaign come off and we see the metrics. It's awesome. But when I see like the feedback from the posts, when I see people writing about how, oh my God, I have to try that, whether it's a CPG brand where someone's cooking something and we just help make a, single mom with 2 or 3 kids at home, fix a quick meal, that's inexpensive and they're loving it, I'm like, yes, that's so cool. And it is a very gratifying feeling. So I thought like, it's interesting that you say that, and that it's part of the culture at Quest that you
It
guys
is.
share that. Because I think more companies probably should be doing that. Is just like, let's look at like the end result, or like you said, the payoff, right? The payout is there. And that's truly like, I mean, I think that will satisfy every aspect of a brand's the different people involved, right? Whether it's someone who's at the manufacturing plant
Mhm.
and is responsible for getting those bars boxed up, or someone who is, maybe an intern and sees how important it is to be part of something that's bigger than them, and all
Exactly.
contributions. So I think that's like really remarkable and special. Is there a campaign that you're proud of? I know you mentioned the crew, but is there a specific campaign?
There is a campaign especially proud and excited about, but it hasn't launched yet.
Okay. Yeah,
And
we
that's going
have.
to happen in January. So I would suggest everyone to tune in around mid to late January on what that campaign is. And then maybe if you and I get on another one of these panels together, I could then tell you about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really, I'm super stoked, super excited about this one campaign. But there is one that we had done that I always talk about, and I'm sure everyone is like so tired of hearing me talking about it. It's when we launched our chocolate sprinkled donut. And the reason why I love and so proud about this campaign was the creativity that went into it. So we work very closely with our creative department. And for good reason, because they're there to help us create content that we put out there that hopefully will resonate with our fans. And with Chocolate Sprinkled Donut, it was just a fun idea because I mean, I'm sure there are people who don't love donuts, but who doesn't love a donut? Like I love a good donut.
Look, it's lunchtime here, so you're talking my love language right now. I'm all about
Perfect. Wonderful. So when we did, it was a fun, colorful packaging. It was just screamed fun all over the place. And I had these, this was when the pool floaties were big.
Right.
And I had chocolate sprinkled donut pool floaties created. And we sent out a bunch of influencer VIP kits out. And our Quest Squad happened to have gotten one of these too. So each one, it was like almost like you got a box of donuts, like the pink box you open up, and we laid them out like a dozen, like because actually one of our boxes, if you do buy a caddy of our bars, there's 12 in there, so it worked out perfectly. So we put dozen, and underneath was the floaty. And then our copywriter at the time had wrote a bunch of like fun, cute little sayings. So every time you pick up the bar underneath it, it had something. So we try to make interactive and fun. And then, but beyond that, what we also did was, and we haven't had a chance to do this again, which I keep telling Alyssa, hey, can we do this? It's called the Donut House.
Okay.
And I took that idea from when I was a publicist, and we used to go to these big brands would put together like a house like in Malibu or somewhere in West Hollywood, and you would go there and you experience it, and then you would get the product, and it was so much fun. I remember I used to love going to those events, and so I wanted to bring that a little bit here. And so we created, so we got a house. With the help of our creative team, they did a fantastic job. It was donut everything was themed donut. And we took it over, and we, put the window cleans on, and in the pool, we put the floaties in. And then we also created an experience where you could also do a workout. So we had, when the influencers we're working with, Eric, the trainer, he pulled together a couple of his friends, and we did a series of workouts outside in this beautiful house, that overlooked the valley, it was, and we were lucky. It was such a great, beautiful day.
Next time you do this, invite some of your partners, please. I'd love to be there.
Well, then this actually gets even better. So this is where it comes in, where it's like, I do a little bit of everything. So we were trying to fill up the bathtub of donuts, so you could throw it up, for those fun shots, right? So we ordered online a bunch of the little plushy donuts, and we threw them all in, and there was hundreds of them. And I was looking at them going, ooh, something doesn't look right. It's because they all had the little tag. So I sat there with scissors, and I clipped off every single tag.
Oh.
So now my blood, sweat, and tears are involved, right? So this now you're going to see why this house is like, very special to me. So that's because I was like, there's no way I'm going to have these people come in and take their fun photos, the boomerangs with it, and
Right.
have these little things of like
Getting
white specks
paper
of
cuts
pads.
and getting hit in the eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so it's all about the little details like that make things
Love it.
successful. And like everyone came together. We pulled in our team members from like a consumer engagement and from other parts of training and stuff to help us man it. And we all like had little outfits to be like a donut house, and it was just so much fun. And I would love to do that again.
I love that. I love how you sort of intertwined event marketing and influencer marketing and made it work. And that's pretty cool, because obviously it's all about the experience, right? Like
It is.
we try to engage people in ways that you're going to want to have that like fear of missing out, right? That FOMO, like, oh my God, I wish I were there. Like, this is awesome. This is the brand that did this, and be known for that.
And then another thing, Rick, I want to tell you why this activation was especially, near and dear to our hearts is we invited the local Quest Squad members. Like we just said, you know what, we'll invite everyone from the state. And if they want to drive, they can drive in. One of members drove in from, I want to say somewhere like central Northern California, from a little small town. And he drove in, like, I think a couple hours, just to come for the day, just experience it, because he loved our brand. And he's this quiet guy, but he just works out all the time and just loves our brand and just wanted to experience it for himself. So we were really touched that he did that and that we were able to give him back something as an appreciation.
That's cool. So it's sort of out of his comfort zone, but he still made it there.
Yeah.
That's great. So obviously a passionate brand, right? People are so passionate about their Quest nutrition bars, their Quest products. So that's exciting. Obviously, this is all working. So I do want to know a little bit about like some of the things that are happening in your industry, and whether it's changes or any obstacle or innovation. What are you seeing? What's out there? What should we all know about?
Well, I do have to say that what I've noticed is that the content quality has gotten a lot better. So I think people who are posting have gotten a little bit savvier on what to do. So that's kind of nice to see. And then, but there's so much going on with the world. So it's kind of like, everyone is also looking for their niche, and we have to be careful as a brand, how we're showing up with who we're showing up with. And so that kind of like brings us to like someone like you, the influential, right? Like we look to our partners to also help us navigate, and we rely on, you guys to also let us know what's going on out there, because you have visibility, not just what we do, but all the other brands. So that's where, so that's kind of like what I do. I rely on you guys to help
Love to
us.
hear that. Love to hear that. Shameless plug. Yes, we use technology to vet out our
Exactly.
influencers, and we can look far back into their timeline and make sure that there's nothing questionable, so that we don't align our partners like Grace with someone who may be a little questionable or was.
Yeah. And also when we work together on that one, on our campaigns, when we come to you and say, this is our product, and then you guys come up with some ideas because you see what's trending out there as well. So you guys are actually one step ahead of us.
Right.
So that's so for in terms of innovation stuff, like, where do we fit? Like I rely on, obviously my also resources, I can see myself when I scroll what's going on and when I talk to people, but that's a lot of it is, taking in all the different resources, getting it, like asking for opinion and thoughts, what's going on there. What do you guys see, the eyes and the ears, and then putting that together when we have a campaign, and how to build the one that's relevant is, from all the discovery work.
Right. That's great. So brand safety, trends,
Yes.
right? Following the trends, making sure that you're either one step ahead or at least at, on par with the trends. And then of course it's being able to make it relevant and have it engage well with your consumer, the end consumers.
Yes.
So that seems to be like a nice recipe for a lot of these new startups to sort of like put under their cap right now. So that's
Oh.
good stuff.
Yeah, so I don't think I really addressed that part of the question about the startups and people who are looking to start their
Yeah.
influencer program. If they haven't started an influencer journey yet, you got to find someone who is passionate, who wants to be there, and who will go above and beyond, because there definitely has been some long nights, some, a lot of hard work. A lot of it goes into it. So for a startup, they may say, well, I don't have the budget. Well, if you have someone who's passionate about it, that makes up for that. And then you just get creative, because we've had to get scrappy and creative too on our side. We have so many different products that are going on in 1 year. Everyone's asking us, resource wise, like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And it's like, we only have so many days in a month.
Right.
And we only have so many of us. So you do have to get really creative, and you can get it off the ground if you have that person who looks at it just beyond a transactional job. They're looking to be there for the fans.
Right. So you got to love it, clearly, as you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So
Well, Chris is here.
Sorry to burst your bubble, Rick. I know you could go all day.
Oh my goodness, I can't
40
believe
minutes like that.
It does. Well, I just want to thank Grace for spending a little time with us. This was awesome. I hope everyone out there just got a lot from this, because I think you sort of gave us the secret sauce of what makes a good influencer marketer, and what makes a good influencer campaign. So thanks to you, and Chris, as always, a pleasure.
Grace, that was so unbelievably kind of you. I was uncomfortable. It was so nice.
Well, good thing your camera was off.
I actually got a little bit choked up.
Yeah. Look, yeah, you're doing the right things.
Sweet. Thank you. That was awesome. One of the nicest things anyone's ever said about me. That was so nice. Thank you.
It was all you.
Well, thank you for coming on today. You were a rock star. Go Quest.
Okay.
Thanks,
bye.
Bye, guys.